The crown prince, Zai Zhenheng, turns the tables on Zhao Yuanxi, presenting a woman as a calculated gift, a sharp jab at the general's own schemes against the prince's son. Returning to his manor, Zhao Yuanxi confronts his wife, Shi Qingluo, whose secret revenge plot has brought humiliation upon him, shattering his composure. As Shi Qingluo faints in a fit of calculated tears, Zhao Yuanxi's heart hardens. He begins to realize his brother-in-law is a blight that must be excised from his life. Zai Zhenheng, realizing his son Zai Rui's clumsy scheme against Zhao Yuanxi has left a trail, delivers a brutal disciplinary lesson to the boy. The fallout reaches the Liang household, where Liang Mingcheng, furious at his son's role in the failed plot, prepares to discipline Liang Yaoxiao with equal severity. United by their shared misfortune and stinging bruises, the two young troublemakers commiserate, only for Zai Rui to plot his next act of defiance. Driven by the desire to punish their fathers with their absence, Zai Rui and Liang Yaoxiao pack their belongings to run away from home. The wedding at the Shi house proceeds under a cloud of bitterness and hidden agendas, as the mysterious maid prepares to move against Xiao Hanzheng. Tao Liu attempts a classic seduction, feigning a fall into Xiao Hanzheng's arms, but the scholar remains unmoved, stepping aside and leaving her to hit the dust. The marriage of fourth son Shi and Wu Zixi descends into immediate loathing, with the bride harboring secret ambitions to replace her husband with the man who just spurned her maid. Xiao Hanzheng returns to the sanctuary of his wife, where the couple reaffirms their bond, fully aware of the petty traps being laid for them by the jealous and the spiteful. Desperation drives Tao Liu to use poison, but she underestimates Xiao Hanzheng, who not only avoids the trap but reveals a cold, ruthless side. With a single, calculated dose, Xiao Hanzheng punishes his attacker, leaving Tao Liu writhing in the dirt and realizing that the scholar she intended to corrupt is a demon in disguise. After shedding his mask of gentleness, Xiao Hanzheng stands before his wife, exposing the darkest corners of his nature, hoping she will accept the man he truly is. Xiao Hanzheng reveals a darker, more calculating side to his personality, one that leaves Shi Qingluo not afraid, but admiring. Together, they hatch a devious plan to weaponize their enemy, Tao Liu, by sending her into the viper's nest that is the general's residence. They present Tao Liu with a choice: remain a victim of her own circumstances or become a pawn of their design. Xiao Hanzheng, playing the role of the devil, offers her the only thing she craves: a chance at revenge against her own blood and a path to power within the general's house. With no choice left but to trust the man she fears most, Tao Liu accepts the medicinal bribe. She has agreed to enter the lion's den, not as a victim, but as a deliberate instrument of chaos, while Xiao Hanzheng watches, his patience reserved only for his wife. Under Shi Qingluo's tutelage, Tao Liu is coached in the art of the White Lotus, masking her predatory nature with a veneer of purity. She is being fashioned into a gift for the general's residence, a ticking time bomb intended to destabilize Shi Qingluo. The visit to the Shi family home is a display of dominance. As the troublemakers of the clan cower before Shi Qingluo, she effortlessly weaves her influence, securing the final pieces of her plan while ensuring the vixen Wu Zixi knows exactly where she stands. The transformation is complete. Tao Liu has vanished, and the stage is set. As she is sent toward the capital to infiltrate the general's estate, the Shi family remains in terror, knowing that beneath the smiles of their daughter-in-law lies a mind that shapes reality to her will. The arrival of the capital's young elites brings a shift in the air. Among them is Zai Rong, a marquise of unmatched status and a reputation as a female devil, seeking an escape from the stifling expectations of the imperial court. Bonded by the novelty of a skateboard, a genuine friendship forms between the village girl and the aristocratic marquise. It is a meeting of minds that defy the era's rigid social constraints, marking the first time Shi Qingluo finds a peer in this ancient world. As the evening winds down, Xiao Hanzheng recounts the tragic and storied past of Zai Rong to his wife. It becomes clear that her rebellious nature is a shield forged from royal favor and the scars of a family lost to political intrigue. The history of Zai Rong is one of fire and defiance. From an annulled engagement to becoming the dynasty's first female marquise, she is a woman who refused to be broken. Her reputation as a female tiger is not one of malice, but of untamed justice. Back in the capital, the imperial family treats the runaway trio not with anger, but with calculated relief. The emperor and empress dowager skillfully spin a web of lies to protect Zai Rong, turning her delinquency into an act of filial piety. Meanwhile, the snake in the grass strikes. Ji Chunru poisons the general's mind against his own son, showing him proof of the Shi family's interference in his affairs, setting the stage for a brewing confrontation that threatens to tear the family apart. The general's fury is ignited. Believing his son is the mastermind behind the public ruin of his reputation, he begins to plan a strike. He has no intention of forgiveness, setting his sights on crippling the one path his son has left, the imperial examinations. The general's life begins to entangle with a new, mysterious beauty. What appears to be a chance encounter is a meticulously constructed trap, designed to further distract the general and lead him deeper into the web of the capital's hidden factions. Far from the political schemes of the capital, Shi Qingluo leads her aristocratic guests into the wild. What starts as a simple hunt for ginseng turns into an exercise in survival and strategy, with Shi Qingluo teaching the sheltered nobility how to navigate the wilderness. In the heart of the mountains, far from the reach of the general or the empress's court, a new alliance is forged. As they harvest wild honey, the bonds between the village girl and the female marquise solidify, proving that in this game of power, the wildest paths are often the most rewarding. In the quietude of their home, Shi Qingluo channels her creative energy into crafting handmade soap and luxurious lipstick, finding an enthusiastic partner in Zai Rong. As they experiment with tea oil and natural scents, a business partnership begins to blossom between the two women, catching the keen eye of the opportunistic Liang Yaoxiao. A sharp-witted negotiation unfolds as Zai Rong manages to outmaneuver Liang Yaoxiao, securing a 50-50 partnership with Shi Qingluo. Shi Qingluo, displaying her characteristic fairness, insists on a 70-30 split, acknowledging the effort and resources Zai Rong will need to invest in the venture. The arrival of Xiao Hanzheng shifts the atmosphere instantly. Disturbed by Zai Rong's encroaching familiarity with his wife, he masterfully feigns a dizzy spell, successfully pulling Shi Qingluo's full attention away from the collaboration to his own side, leaving the others stunned by his dramatic performance. Alone at last, Xiao Hanzheng drops the act, revealing the tender and possessive heart behind his performance. Their bond deepens as Shi Qingluo playfully teases her husband, delighting in his uncharacteristic display of jealousy and domineering affection. The conversation shifts to the weightier matters of the realm. Xiao Hanzheng encourages Shi Qingluo to continue her collaboration with Zai Rong, recognizing that the funds are essential for the future Marquise's pursuit of justice and the formation of a female army. With the harvest of heaven-bestowed corn approaching, the couple hatches a bold plan. They intend to fabricate an old, prophetic will from a priest to solidify the current emperor's legitimacy, masterfully manipulating history to ensure the crown remains stable against usurpers. Dark truths emerge as Xiao Hanzheng details the internal rot of the kingdom, from ambitious princes gathering illegal armies to the tragic loss of innocent lives in border skirmishes. The shadows of their past lives fuel a shared resolve to alter the fate of the nation. With the weight of the past heavy on his mind, Xiao Hanzheng carefully pens a document designed to look like a relic of the past, weaving a narrative that binds the harvest of the corn to the divine authority of the emperor. Shi Qingluo expands her influence by teaching villagers the art of beekeeping, ensuring a steady supply of wax for their cosmetic empire. Her wisdom and kindness earn her the fierce loyalty of the local commoners, a development that surprises the high-born Zai Rong. By turning the capital's elites into unwitting brand ambassadors for their cosmetics, Shi Qingluo showcases her brilliant mind for business. Her ability to manipulate social standing and gain allies leaves the men in their circle both begrudgingly impressed and weary of being outplayed. The county flourishes under Shi Qingluo's guidance, with villagers from all walks of life gathering to learn the secrets of beekeeping. Her selfless sharing of knowledge and commitment to the community's prosperity cement her reputation as a saintly figure among the people. A wave of change sweeps through the region. As Shi Qingluo personally oversees the distribution of hives, the residents express their gratitude with open hearts, vowing to protect her against any who would dare threaten her family's safety. The tour of the rural villages serves as a wake-up call for Zai Rong and her friends. Seeing the true poverty of the commoners transforms their shallow ambitions into a genuine desire to serve the people and secure the future of the nation. Inspired by Shi Qingluo's impact, the group finds a new purpose. Zai Rong dreams of building an army to defend the innocent, and Fei Yu sheds his desire for a life of idle luxury, all while the seeds of lasting change are sown throughout the land. The moment of truth arrives as the heaven-gifted corn ripens. Though the temptation to feast is great, Shi Qingluo and Xiao Hanzheng exercise restraint, choosing to prioritize the future of the crop over their own immediate hunger, proving their devotion to the greater good. As they prepare to offer the harvest, Xiao Hanzheng reveals the dark reality of the threats closing in on them. He has uncovered assassins hired by his father, and instead of fear, he feels the cold chill of retribution. He intends to turn the tables and force his father to sacrifice his greatest secret to the emperor. The stage is set for a grand undoing. Xiao Hanzheng is ready to dismantle his father's aspirations one piece at a time, ensuring that the man who sought to destroy his future will instead watch his own ambitions crumble to dust, all while Shi Qingluo stands by him as his heart and shield. In the sacred quiet of the main hall, Shi Qingluo presents the harvest of the heavens. As she performs the ritual, a miraculous golden glow envelops the tablet, leaving the witnesses, including the skeptical young masters, speechless and filled with sudden, profound reverence. Skepticism of the capital's young dandies evaporates upon witnessing the manifestation. They are stunned to learn that this single, miraculous crop can yield 1,000 caddis per mu, a figure that defies everything they know about farming. With the potential to change the fate of the entire dynasty, the group moves to the backyard. They are determined to taste the fruit of the heavens themselves, desperate to confirm if this high-yield grain is the solution to the hunger plaguing the people. Tensions rise as the magistrate arrives to witness the harvest. The air in the room is thick with anticipation and duty, for if this experiment proves successful, the path leads directly to the emperor's court. A moment of levity turns into shock when Shi Qingluo feeds the precious grain to her pet goose. The onlookers, paralyzed by the sight of such luxury, can only stare as the bird enjoys a meal worth more than their standard rations. When the scholars finally taste the dish, the verdict is unanimous. The corn is not just edible, it is a gift of substance. With a sense of duty, the magistrate prepares to document this discovery for the capital. In the cool evening air, the true potential of the field is revealed. When Shi Qingluo explains the seed-to-yield ratio, the scholars are left stunned, realizing that this is truly a boon from the heavens. The line between man and myth blurs as the young masters, influenced by Xiao Hanzheng's novels, beg for divine favor. They are convinced the old immortal holds the secrets to cultivation, transforming simple curiosity into a fervent, misguided religious zeal. As the group becomes obsessed with mythical beasts and divine favors, they nearly overlook the next treasure. But finally, a keen eye falls upon the vibrant red chilies, marking the beginning of another agricultural breakthrough. The introduction of the chili plant brings new excitement, though overshadowed by the corn. Shi Qingluo looks forward to the culinary transformations ahead, while the magistrate schedules the official harvest for the morning. The scales do not lie. As the harvest is weighed, the collective awe of the villagers confirms the miracle. Over 200 caddis are recorded, cementing the corn's status as a savior for the common people. Caught in a moment of unchecked impulse, the young dandies decide that permission is unnecessary. They snatch their share of the sacred seeds and scatter, leaving the magistrate to deal with the chaos and their audacity. Powerless to stop the royal cousins and their cohorts, the magistrate is forced to accept the theft. The seeds have been scattered, and the news of their miraculous yield will surely reach the capital before he even arrives. The kitchen fills with the scent of spices, and even the skeptical begin to fall in love with the fiery bite of the chili. It is a new world of flavor that binds the group together in their simple, joyful daily life. Domestic secrets are revealed as the women indulge in a beauty ritual. Zai Rong is delighted by the results, seeing the clear path to expanding her own business ventures back in the capital. The cosmetic miracle works as promised, further solidifying the legendary status of the old immortal's disciple. As the group prepares for their inevitable return to the capital, they carry with them treasures that promise to change both their lives and the dynasty itself. In the quiet of Nangxi County, the desire for beauty knows no bounds. Shi Qingluo, with a twinkle of mischief in her eyes, concocts herbal masks for the dandy duo, Zai Rui and Liang Yaoxiao, who are desperate to secure their place as the most charming figures in the capital. As the jars of cream are finalized, playful banter turns into a contest of affections. Zai Rong playfully laments not being a man to win Shi Qingluo's heart, only to be shut down by the smitten and fiercely protective Xiao Hanzheng. Peace is broken by an imperial edict. The capital calls for the high-yield seeds. While Mo Qingling prepares to escort the harvest, Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo arrange a separate, slower journey, sensing that shadows, and perhaps an assassin, are waiting in the wings. Behind the scenes, the game of influence intensifies. Mo Qingling understands the peril of the limelight, strategically using the flamboyant young nobles as a shield for Xiao Hanzheng, ensuring the scholar's path remains clear of courtly jealousy. The road to the capital is fraught with danger. 8 assassins, blinded by the hubris of their employer, strike against the caravan, but they find themselves outmatched, intercepted by the hidden guards of those they sought to destroy. As the vanguard reaches the capital, the local authorities are met with a chaotic reunion. Zai Rui and Liang Yaoxiao, fueled by the importance of their mission, brush off their frantic families with tales of imperial grandeur. The sons of the great families have returned, not as the wayward profligates they once were, but as self-proclaimed heralds of a new agricultural revolution, leaving their bewildered fathers scrambling to keep pace. The news reaches the patriarchs. Zai Zhenheng and Liang Mingcheng are nearly driven to apoplexy by the audacity of their sons. They rush toward the palace, determined to drag the troublemakers home before they commit an unforgivable offense. Within the palace, the atmosphere is electric. The emperor, weary of courtly shadows and rumors, receives Mo Qingling and the band of young nobles, his hope ignited by the promise of the heaven-gifted harvest. The sight of the golden corn seeds acts as a balm to the monarch's soul. When the Minister of Agriculture confirms the harvest's potential, the doubts of the court begin to dissolve, replaced by the weight of a monumental discovery. As the young men fervently swear to the truth of the 1,000 catty yield, their fathers arrive just in time to hear their sons claiming to be servants of the divine. The shock leaves the patriarchs speechless, teetering on the edge of fainting. Confrontation turns to revelation. The emperor, amused by the tenacity of the youth, grants them a reprieve, validating their presence in the palace. Zai Zhenheng's frustration turns into disbelief as his son is acknowledged for official duty. The great hall becomes a stage for the revelation of the century. As the emperor serves the corn bread, the officials, including a deeply rattled Xiao Yuanxi, realize the gravity of the change that is about to sweep through Daliang. In a display of sheer, shameless brilliance, the 3 young men weave tales of divine golden light and heavenly intervention. They turn the simple act of offering seeds into a celestial endorsement of the emperor's rule. Mo Qingling delivers the final blow to doubt, producing the late priest's testament. The paper, infused with a mysterious golden luster, seems to confirm that the stars have aligned, painting the emperor as the truly chosen ruler of the empire. The emperor's heart is transformed. The burden of doubt that once plagued his reign is lifted by this divine validation. He resolves, in this moment, to become the wisest ruler Daliang has ever known, driven by a new, celestial mandate. In the shadows of the hall, Xiao Yuanxi is struck by a cold realization. His past actions against Shi Qingluo now threaten to consume him, as he finds his own son's wife elevated to the status of a sacred envoy of the heavens. The rewards are bestowed, cementing the status of the young nobles. As they stand, beaming with the pride of having secured their family's future, they exchange triumphant looks, having proven to the world that even the most notorious hedonists can change the course of history. In the wake of the corn harvest, the imperial court was abuzz with excitement. Officials scrambled for a share of the precious seeds, hoping to bring glory and heavenly favor to their manors. Despite the pressure, Mo Qingling stood firm, rejecting their frantic requests with a cold, unyielding demeanor. Meanwhile, the young dandies, led by Zai Rui, found themselves caught. When Zai Zhenheng demanded to know what his son was up to, Zai Rui brazenly used his stash of corn seeds as leverage, stunning his father with the audacity of his newfound connection to the source. Not all were as reckless as Zai Rui. Fei Yuge employed a different tactic, presenting his seeds to old Master Fei with a show of sincere filial piety. His clever maneuver earned him praise and envy, proving that in this game of court politics, there was more than one way to survive. Back at the Liang estate, Liang Yaoxiao gambled on his grandfather's affection. By framing his acquisition of the corn as an act of filial duty, he not only escaped punishment for his earlier antics, but also secured a land deed reward, leaving his relatives burning with jealousy. While others celebrated, the Xiao household was draped in shadow. Xiao Yuanqi was reeling from the failure of his assassination plot and the news that the very people he sought to destroy were rising to imperial favor. His mood was a dark storm, signaling trouble for the family. Sensing a political opportunity in the dark, Shi Qingluo plotted to turn eldest young Master Xiao's family against the rising star, Xiao Hanzheng. She aimed to use their greed and bloodthirsty nature to neutralize a threat to her own family's status. The seeds of discord were planted. Xiao Yuanqi, finding common ground with Shi Qingluo, agreed to let the troublemaking elders of the Xiao family meet Xiao Hanzheng, hoping to ruin his future before it could truly begin. As the news of the heavenly gifted corn spread, Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo arrived at the capital. Mo Qingling welcomed them, but Mr. Hu stepped in, asserting his right as a teacher to house his student and integrate him into the capital's elite circles. Inside the imperial palace, the emperor observed the couple. Far from the rustic villagers he expected, he found them poised and refined. He moved to reward them for their service, testing their character with a simple question about their desires. Shi Qingluo surprised the court by rejecting grand titles, asking only for a mountain villa with a hot spring. The emperor, amused by her humble yet practical request, granted it immediately, sensing a rare lack of greed that endeared her to him. Then Xiao Hanzheng spoke. Instead of wealth, he asked for access to past examination papers, proposing a plan to compile study guides. The emperor saw not just a student, but a strategic mind capable of reshaping the path to bureaucracy. After Xiao Hanzheng departed, the emperor called Mr. Hu to the palace. Impressed by his student's proposal for an examination bank, the emperor floated the idea of an enquête, a special imperial examination, specifically to usher in new, talented blood to challenge the aristocratic hold on power. Returning to his residence, Mr. Hu urged Xiao Hanzheng to prepare for the upcoming examination. The teacher boasted of his student's potential to the emperor, putting immense pressure on Xiao Hanzheng to not only succeed, but to rank in the top 3. In the general's residence, Xiao Yuanqi stewed in silence. Watching from afar as his estranged son gained the emperor's favor, he found his heart caught between regret for his past decisions and a lingering desire to exert control. News of the modest reward fueled gossip across the capital. While many, including Zai Rui's family, dismissed Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo as short-sighted peasants, Zai Xinheng realized their true genius. They were playing a long game, avoiding the jealousy of the elite to secure their future. Old Master Zai acknowledged Zai Xinheng's insight. He realized that the unassuming couple had successfully navigated the dangerous waters of imperial politics. He instructed Zai Rui to deepen his ties with these clever allies, seeing them as the future. The Liang family reached a similar conclusion. Liang Yaoxiao, ever the playboy with a hidden edge, agreed with his grandfather to maintain his friendship with Xiao Hanzheng. They understood that in this city, true power often wore the mask of simplicity. In the shadows of the Xiao household, the intrigue continued. Shi Qingluo, unable to see the grander political strategy, remained fixated on her petty vengeance. She set her plot into motion, preparing to use her family's connections to weave a trap for the rising scholar. Fueled by the whispers of his ambitious concubine, eldest grandson Xiao grows jealous of his cousin's sudden fame and the benefits of the new high-yield seeds. He decides to manipulate his grandmother into confronting the couple. The old Xiao family arrives at the residence, convinced they are owed a share of the glory. They demand recognition, citing filial piety as their primary weapon against the composed duo. Shi Qingluo meets their posturing with cool defiance, refusing to be cowed by their claims of seniority. She sees through their petty games, sensing the hand of a master manipulator behind them. The tide turns abruptly when Xiao Hanzheng reveals a dark truth. The cousin is suffering from a contagious, dishonorable illness. The shock ripples through the family as the prideful facade of the eldest grandson crumbles. As the family scoffs at the diagnosis, Shi Qingluo calmly dares them to verify the truth with a doctor. The seeds of doubt are planted, forcing the Xiao men to rush away for an external diagnosis. While the men are away, Shi Qingluo dismantling the family's avarice. She scolds them for their lack of vision, explaining that true honor is not bought with trinkets but earned through real service. The doctor confirms the diagnosis, shattering the family's pride. Faced with the reality of his own mortality, the eldest grandson is forced to beg his cousin for mercy, realizing his concubine was a trap. Shi Qingluo acts as the unwilling guide, peeling back the layers of deception to show the family how they were puppets in someone else's vendetta against the Xiao household. The realization hits the family like a thunderbolt. They identify their tormentor, and the shift from arrogance to vengeful fury is instantaneous, turning their anger toward Shi Qingluo. Xiao Hanzheng plays the role of the reluctant savior, offering a lifeline in the form of a treatment plan. He knows the road ahead for his cousin is long and difficult, but it serves his own long-term interests. With the promise of a cure for their eldest, the family's focus turns entirely to retribution. They leave the residence with a new, dark purpose, ready to bring chaos back to the general's home. Shi Qingluo begins to plot their revenge, teaching the family how to weaponize their position. She advises them to use their connection to the general to destabilize the woman who betrayed them. Armed with a new strategy, the family prepares to challenge the power structure within the general's residence. They intend to bring in new rivals to displace the woman who sought to destroy them. The plan is set. They will force a confrontation and leverage their status as the general's kin to demand resources and protection, effectively turning the household into a battlefield. As the family departs, Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo know they have successfully lit the fuse. The upcoming show in the capital will be nothing short of explosive as the family turns on itself. The final stage of the strategy is discussed, blackmailing the general with the threat of reporting the scandal to the authorities. It is a masterful move that leaves the family no choice but to follow through. With the medicine in hand and their newfound leverage, the family gains a sense of confidence. They are ready to reclaim their dignity and extract their pound of flesh from those who underestimated them. The trap is set. The once victims are now the orchestrators of a grand design that will ensure their enemies suffer the consequences of their own pride and ingenuity. Old Lady Xiao orchestrates a manipulative public display, feigning frailty and heartbreak as she spreads rumors about Shi Qingluo's infertility and unfilial behavior to neighbors, effectively turning the capital's public opinion against her son's wife. The charade shifts to an aggressive confrontation at the general's residence. The Xiao family members storm in, exposing Shi Qingluo's secret schemes involving the mistreated concubine and demanding justice. Chaos erupts as the old matriarchs unleash their pent-up fury, physically assaulting Shi Qingluo. Xiao Yuanqi is caught in the middle, paralyzed by the sudden eruption of violence and the exposure of his wife's vicious past. When Shi Qingluo threatens to hang herself to escape the accusations, old Lady Xiao coldly calls her bluff, offering a belt and challenging her to proceed. The display of raw defiance leaves the general's wife cornered and humiliated. Fearing a scandal that would reach the imperial court, Xiao Yuanqi is forced into a corner. He struggles to shield his wife, but the Xiao family's threat to involve the authorities forces his hand. To silence the threat of public disgrace, Xiao Yuanqi agrees to the Xiao family's demands. He must take in new concubines and surrender a massive portion of the general's manor assets, leaving Shi Qingluo seething with impotent rage. In a tense negotiation, Old Master Xiao offers a rare, sharp insight into the future, warning his son that isolating himself from his kin for the sake of his wife will only lead to his downfall once she and her siblings rise in status. The negotiations reach a breaking point. Xiao Yuanqi attempts to safeguard some of the dowry intended for the second prince's future concubine, but the Xiao elders remain steadfast in their demands for the general's wealth. Shame follows Xiao Yuanqi to the Yemen and the markets. The rumors spread by his mother have turned him into the talk of the town, mocking him as a man who cowers before his wife. The final blow falls when Shi Qingluo hears the public whispers confirm the very rumors she tried to bury. Shattered and near collapse, she realizes that her control over the general's manor is slipping away. Paranoia consumes Shi Qingluo as she investigates potential betrayals. Convinced that Xiao Yuanqi is keeping a concubine, she is pushed to the edge of insanity by the Xiao family's machinations. During a hunting trip to the royal grounds, Shi Qingluo encounters a mysterious, wounded noble. Uninterested in political intrigue or chivalrous deeds, she coldly chooses to ignore the stranger, much to his utter disbelief. Instead of playing the savior, Shi Qingluo blows a whistle to summon guards, effectively neutralizing any trap the stranger might have set. She refuses to engage in his schemes, leaving him stunned by her unconventional behavior. The game of cat and mouse begins. Shi Qingluo senses the stranger is someone of high status with complex motives, and she makes it clear through her sharp tone that she will not be manipulated by him. The arrival of Zai Rong unmasks the stranger as the second prince, Liang Hengxiao. Shi Qingluo remains unruffled by the revelation of his royal identity, maintaining her sharp and disinterested demeanor. Back at the royal farm, Shi Qingluo impresses the agriculture minister with her profound knowledge of farming, drawing the attention of everyone present, including the second prince who is now captivated by her brilliance. Sheltering from a storm in a temple, the group gathers around a fire. When Shi Qingluo catches Liang Hengxiao staring at her, she playfully calls him out, leaving the entire group stunned by her audacity before the prince.